Well, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, and here we are welcoming our DTM Jamak Golshani, sorry. And he has been an amazing asset for the workshop, for giving a workshop every Saturday, every month. And for us, that's an asset, especially for the people that is working on the PR of their clubs, but as well for their life if they want to apply that afterwards. So with that, I welcome Jamak Golshani.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Let's get started here. Before we jump into the topic today, as I do for every session, especially if you're watching this as a video later down the line, as if you're not live with us today, please make sure you go back and watch the previous sessions of these workshops, because the workshops are intended to build on each other. They're not supposed to be standalone workshops, although you will get something out of each one of these, even if you haven't watched the previous ones. That's the number one note. Number two note, as I always say, is these workshops are not intended for you to be able to get off the workshop right away and go do it. They are designed to create a roadmap for you, to know what to look for, to know what to search for, to be able to, in order to be able to get to where you need to get to. So whether you end up hiring somebody or you continue to educate yourself on the topic, that's what you need to do. I don't want you to have the expectation that as soon as this is over, for example, you will know everything you need to know about this topic. That's true about every single one of these workshops that I've done, and I will do, because frankly, the topic for each one is far more complicated and has a lot more detail than I can cover in 1 or 2 hours. With that said, let's do a quick overview right now of what we've covered, where we're at, and where we're going today. So we talked about internet marketing as part of sort of the overall marketing plan for any organization, and specifically as a Toastmasters club as well. When you look at internet marketing, online marketing, there are terms that are thrown around, such as SEO, social media marketing. And I shared with you that, at least in my opinion, these are pillars that hold up this bigger body called called internet marketing, or digital marketing, if you will. None of them alone will completely get the results that you want. They might get you some results, but they don't give you the entire results that you need. We talked about traffic and conversion, and this topic today fits into the traffic category. We talked about the overall idea of what SEO is, search engine optimization is. And when we talked about that, I told you that for many businesses, including a Toastmasters club, if you happen to be a vice president of public relations for a Toastmasters club, this topic of how you rank in Google Maps specifically is the most important. Everything else, SEO, is relevant, but this is more important. And I'm going to start with the reason for that and try and kind of not sell you on the idea, but convince you or show you why this is significant. And then once we've done that, we can go over the rest of things. When we search on Google for anything, and I hope you agree with me, and this isn't something that we need to, I don't need to convince you of this, that people search on Google more than any other platform that we're familiar with. When you search on Google, you get different types of results. You get organic results, you get sponsored results, which are the ads. You get videos, sometimes you get images, and you also get this other category of results that are called map results. The Google algorithm decides what keywords to serve a map results on versus not. In other words, you and I can't make a decision whether or not something shows up as a map results. Google does that. And they do that based on search volume, based on what people are asking for, and then what do they click on once they've been served that search results, right? So for example, if you search for dentist, Google serves some results, and based on where people click on, they decide what's more important to the general public who's searching. And that's how they define their algorithm most of the time. But those terms that I'm talking about are terms such as dentist. It makes more sense for us to receive map results when we search for dentist than a study that was done in and published in New England Journal of Medicine about some new thing that was discovered about dentistry. That makes sense, right? We search for dentist because we probably want to go to a dentist. However, if we searched for the name of a disease, for example, along with some other keywords, it would make sense for them to serve us the research for that rather than the name of a local hospital, for example. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get you to understand that. Now, you add the fact that many of our searches are done on our mobile devices, and the fact that our mobile phones have our geo tag in there. They know where we are. They have our location in there. Then this whole thing comes together, right? Based on where you are, Google is telling you, this is what I think is important when you're searching for that, right? So if you're sitting on your computer and if your computer has the location turned on as well, the chances are it would also serve you location results. But let's try something together and see what we get. If you guys have your phones handy with you, just go on your phone and search for the term dentist, because that's what I used as an example. And let's see what you get. What should come up, and I'll talk you through it I'm sure this is not your first time searching on your mobile phone. If you go to Google and you type dentist, you should get a number of map results. And you can just nod if you're seeing map results. It should be showing you the dentists that are close to you, the dentists that are kind of in your, on Google, not Google Maps. So if you just open a browser tab, if you're on Android, you can open just a Google browser tab, or if you're on your iPhone, you can open Safari, but go to google.com and then search for dentist. You should be getting results, map results, telling you, 5 to 7, but sometimes 3, depending on where you are, dentists that are in your area. If you look at their location, you should see that they're pretty close to you. They might be within a few kilometers of your location. And if you're a business owner, if you're my client, for example, and you're a dentist, the very first question that you ask me when I show you this is, wait a minute, how come Joe Smith is higher than me? I've been in this business for 15 more years than this guy. Why am I showing up? And that's where the money is, right? That's why people hire consultants. That's why maybe you're listening to this. So that part of it, in that how do we rank higher in Google Maps, because the results are served through Google Maps, despite the fact that you didn't go to Google Maps right now to make that search. You were right there on Google. This is fed through from Google Maps, and those Google Maps results are, there is a certain level of optimization you can do with Google Maps, and that's partly what we're going to go through today. I'm not going to necessarily be diving into the details of it, as I said, but I'll give you the logic behind it, and my hope is that you can go do your due diligence and pull it up. The other element that's very interesting here is in Google Maps.
All
right, sorry, I just muted that, so hopefully that's okay. In Google Maps, the chances of you winning the competition is a lot higher than if you're generally on Google, right? If you look at Google Maps, the results that show up are not that many when you look at a geographic location. And then if you're ranking, if someone's searching in your location, Google is not going to go show them something that's 50 kilometers away. It might if there aren't enough listings, right? It might get to that, but if there isn't a lot of competition, you're going to show up on top. So in my opinion, and this is shared by some people argue it, but in my opinion, as a business owner that's a brick and mortar business, that meaning somebody can walk into your store location somewhere, Google Maps by far is the most effective thing you can do as far as optimization. So when you hear the word search engine optimization, if you're a brick and mortar business, I suggest you start by focusing on Google Maps and then focusing on other things. Now, Google Maps also does tie into everything else that we talked about in regards to SEO. I think it was last session, if I'm not mistaken. So all of that is still important, that the tags on the website, the backlinks, all that stuff is still important. But focusing on Google Maps will get you results relatively quickly in most cases. I have seen cases where it doesn't make sense. And that's another thing with Google is there are things that don't make logical sense. I think last time we were talking about Google Analytics, and I said to you, the numbers you see don't always make a lot of sense because Google does not report the entire data. They tell you that. They tell us that they share some of the data with us and not all of the data. Let's talk briefly about Toastmasters clubs and Google Maps. I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, one of our fellow Toastmasters went through the trouble of putting all of the clubs that are in the in BC, I think, on the map. Okay, so every single club, he went through so much trouble to put everything on the map. And then what he asked people to do, what we asked everyone to do at district trainings was go claim your club. Okay, so sometimes the clubs happen to be on the map. If you're a new club, you probably aren't on the map. But even as a business owner, your business might already be on the map because people got directions for it. Basically, Google knows that business is there. But you have to claim it first in order to get in order to have control over it so you can start working and doing the things that we're talking about here. With Toastmasters clubs, unless you're a new Toastmaster club, your Toastmasters club is already on the map. The question is whether you've claimed it or not. If it has been claimed already, then what you need to do is you need to get the username and password to be able to manage it. And it might be a previous VPPR, or it might be a club president, club secretary, somebody has that information. If not, you can try and reset the password. If it's you, if you're the person who's starting all of this in your club, I beg you, use one Gmail account for everything. That way you're not driving the next person crazy, because this is one of the issues that we deal with sometimes from the district's perspective. Is we try to help a club and there's 16 different Gmail accounts that one of them manages YouTube, one of them manages Twitter, one of them manages this one. It's hard, right? So we want to, and I'm sorry if I went off on a rant here, it's difficult, right? It's difficult to get everything under control when there's so many different things happening. And you have to remember, people who are working at district level are also volunteers. They have their own lives that they got to live as well. So trying to get everything together to help a club becomes very, very difficult. So if you're starting all of this, get one Gmail account and be very methodic about using that same Gmail account for all of these platforms. You can have different passwords for it if you want. Use a password manager, and then that way you can, that's kind of succession planning, right? When that next person wants to come into play, you give them everything. Here's the password, here's the account. It's easier for them. So you need a Gmail account to be able to get into this thing that we're going to talk about. hopefully you have already access to that Gmail account. If you don't and your club has already been claimed, it's going to take a little bit of work in order to get there. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at some results first, talk about them, and then we're going to go and I'm going to show you some details about the Google Map listings. All right, so I'm going to share my browser with you. All right, and my shared window is on this other screen, so I'm not looking at you guys because I'm looking at this other screen. All right, so here's a generic Google page, right? So if I go to google.com, this is where we're at. And if I search for the same term you guys search for, dentist, right? These are the results that I'm going to get. If you look right at the top, hold on 1 second. Right at the top, you can see the navigation toolbar for Google. So you do have a maps section here along with images, news, videos. But right on that first results page, you can see that it's immediately giving me a maps results section because it knows that more than likely I am looking for a dentist. When I was typing, if you notice, it says, you see how it says near me and then Maple Ridge, because I happen to be in Maple Ridge right now. So if I go near me, it's giving me a little bit more results. It was 3, now it's 4. All right, and if we do Maple Ridge, BC, it's back to 3. Okay, so, and I don't know why. I can't tell you why one is 3, one is 4. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? But if you see all these little red dots, the little red dots that you see, and my image gets bigger when I scroll on it. The red dots that you see are other listings that are not showing up on the results page right now. But if I go and click on view all, then you see a listing on the left-hand side, and the map will load on the right-hand side when it feels like it. There we go. All right, so all of those are dentists. Okay, some of them are clinics. And one thing to keep in mind with Google Maps is it shows you everything in the window of the map that you're looking at. So if I zoom in, the number is going to go down, right? If I start to zoom in here into what's downtown Maple Ridge, you're going to start seeing only those businesses that are in this window of maps show up on the left-hand side. One cool little thing, you see the very top one is an ad. And let me ask you something. By a show of hands, and this is a rhetorical question, of course, do you think it is more economically viable for me to advertise on Google Maps for Valley Fair Dental Clinic or just regularly on Google? Okay, so the Maps one is more effective because the competition is a lot less. You'll pay a lot less money to be number 1 in the Maps results than on regular Google results. But now, of course, not every business can do this because you need to be a local business in order to be able to advertise like that. Another little interesting thing I want to share with you, and I'm telling you these because I want you to go back and do some market research, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that in a second. Right here, it says sort by best match. At the top, right here, it says sort by best match, and I have the ability to select distance instead. And what it's doing now when it shows me the results, hello. Okay. All right, let's refresh this page and let's see if I can do that now. I don't know why it's not coming up. This is sometimes, let me see if sometimes with Zoom, when you start sharing your browser, some weird things happen, but that's okay. Let's keep it here. If you change this, the ranking it will give you will change, and it will be based on the distance that I have. You see how this right here, forget about the ad, you have 3.6 kilometers, 3.3 kilometers, 3.5 kilometers. So the guy, this Maple Ridge, whatever it's called, Dentist Cedar Ridge Dental, is ranking higher despite the fact that it's further away from me. All right, and this is the thing that drives business owners crazy, right? This is exactly what drives them nuts. Now let's look at some interesting stuff here. When I told you I'd like you to do market research for your business, is I want you to go through what you're getting for Google Maps results in different locations. All right, so some depending on your business, you want to be at your business, which would be 0 distance from your business, and do this, and then go out, to like maybe a Starbucks or something that's down the road, and try to test different things and see what you get. Now, what I want you to pay attention to are a few things here. Number one is the number of reviews that somebody has. That seems to do magic with the ranking. So if you look in this particular case right here, though, this makes me a liar, right? This guy has 445 reviews. The guy who's showing up on top has 26 reviews only. In comparison, that's nothing. And then 81 and 16. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is we want to click on it. And then little window, like a half a window, there will show up that shares the information that they have on here with you. You can see the guy has 26 reviews. If I click on this, I will see the reviews, but I'm not interested in seeing the reviews right now. I want you to pay attention to where it says suggest and edit, and it also says own business, own this business question mark. So that's we need to know about that. And then as you scroll down, this is obviously new, right? This COVID update from business is a new thing that is appearing on these things. You go down further, you've got the same basic stuff. You guys must have seen these before when you search for restaurants or whatever. Everything is in here. But you look at the number of images that they have, sometimes videos that they have. Scrolling down, I'm getting into the top reviews now, right? And then this is from the business. They have something happening. All right, so now let's go look at this other one with 445 reviews and see if we can tell why this one is not ranking higher. You guys notice how it doesn't have the COVID update thing here? So one of the things that's very important about not just, and I said this in the last session when we were talking about SEO as well, Google loves new, fresh content. It's almost like you were providing Google it's almost like Google rewards us as webmasters, as business owners, for making the web a better place. Let's call it that. We're providing more pages, we're providing more content into the cloud, in the internet, right? My suspicion is that this person, the owner of this place, Maple Place Dental Center, has not done anything with this listing in a long time, or less, like this other place has done it more recently than this. The thing that's tipping me off is the COVID update, but that's not necessarily it. Putting up new, I'll show you in a minute where, but you have the ability to share new images, videos, posts. You have the ability to do all of these stuff, but meaning providing content, right? Providing content for Google, for the listing for Google. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to search
Jamak,
for, yes.
Before you go on, there are a few questions in chat that it might be appropriate to address.
Let's do them. All right, how does this work for Toastmasters? We'll talk about that in a minute. Please comment on competing products like Bing, etc. for effectiveness. I wouldn't focus on them. just because the number of people that use Bing and Yahoo are, at least here in North America, are a lot less, far less than the people who use Google. So 80-20 rule, I always think about, where do I spend the 20% of time that has the 80% effectiveness? And in my opinion, it's Google. Yeah, so Google AdWords will make a difference in ranking 100% as long as you're doing the Google AdWords towards the map space and not just a Google AdWords. So when you have the ability to advertise on Google Maps versus the normal Google, the normal like bigger picture Google, and usually when people go through their Google Ads platform, they're advertising on the general Google and not on Maps. Advertising on Maps is cheaper and also more effective. All right, let's continue here. Janice or Yuri, did you guys get any private questions that we may want to address?
No,
not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So
I guess it's just the whole thing about, because I know how this, I have an idea of how this runs for business, but for the Toastmasters club itself,
yeah,
since we're just a club and we're not owning the business,
yeah,
it's a little bit trickier.
yeah. I'm just starting to talk about that right now.
Okay.
And let's see if I can shed some light on it. I don't claim to be an expert in it, but we're learning together as we go along. So Toastmasters, I just typed in Toastmasters, and Toastmasters is a very sort of general term. As you said, it refers to a brand, right? Let's see what Google does when we just search for Toastmasters. Actually, let's do this. Let's just go to a clean google.com sheet. And here, we're just gonna do Toastmasters. And before I click on anything, let's look at what the search suggestions are right there. So top is Toastmasters International. That's a website. It's coming up because it knows I visit that site quite often. And you can see that it's purple, meaning it's a link that I've clicked on before. So let's get beyond that. Look at the top one. Positively Speaking is like right there in search suggestions. That's incredible to me. That was not there if you did this. I don't know, last time I did a study of this is probably a year ago. That's an actual club that's showing up right there before I even hit enter, right? So it's as soon as I type in Toastmasters, it's saying, are you looking for Toastmasters Maple Ridge? Which is Positively Speaking. Positively Speaking is probably the closest club to me, I think. I'm not a member of Positively Speaking, but I've visited them a couple of times. So that's there. And then it says Toastmasters locations, reviews, Toastmasters Vernon. I don't know why Vernon is showing up of all places here. Richmond, Vancouver, Victoria, and then ToastmastersInternational.org, right? If you look again at the bottom, you see how it's Toastmasters Surrey? That's an actual club. Surrey Toastmasters Club 2590, and it's giving me the location. There's another one, Toastmasters. Actually, look, Toastmasters Vernon is a club. It's in Vernon. I don't know why it's showing up. That's strange. I have no idea why it's showing up. But the point is, without me even hitting enter, I think that's proof right there that Google Maps is worth looking into for a Toastmasters club. Let's hit enter, but I want to make a point before we do that. Actually, let's go back. Let's do something else before we do that. There may be a question, an argument that what if people don't know to look for the term Toastmasters, right? So I'm looking for public speaking, and this is more for the district. If outside of Janice, other people are watching this later on, years to come, who knows? That's a branding question to me. Okay, so it's not necessarily a search-based marketing question, although you could look at it that way. But I think the question of how do I get people who are looking for public speaking, people who are looking to get better at leadership, at communication, how do I get them to think Toastmasters as soon as they think that? To me, that's branding. you can increase your branding through marketing, right? That's a great way to do that. However, those are two different things, right? So as a VP PR, I think we should be leveraging the Toastmasters brand. So the work that has been done over so many years with Toastmasters International, and it continues to be done. Example is, the district goes out and gets a proclamation for Toastmasters Day or month. I think it's month of February, if I'm not mistaken. Why do we do that? We do that for branding purposes, right? Meaning people will go, wait, what? It's Toastmasters month. What is Toastmasters? They go look it up, and then now they know it's for, it's for personal development, communication skills, leadership skills. We have ads on buses or whatever. We have all these different things that just says Toastmasters, right? It doesn't say come to my club, it says Toastmasters. That's where that focus is. There should be more dollars than a club can handle dedicated to increasing brand awareness. At least that's my opinion. So if I came in here and I did learn public speaking skills, okay, it's not giving me maps results, is it? Because that's a very, very general thing. Maybe I want to look up articles, right? Look, 10 best public speaking tips, right? You scroll down, better public speaking. There's no club, there's no class here, right? So I'm going to keep scrolling down. Google does not recognize public speaking as something that people go locally and do. Right now, what if I said instead of public speaking skills, I said public speaking near me? You see that one? What is that? Learn public speaking near me. There we go. Now we're getting stuff that's map results. Okay. So public speaking course in Vancouver. That one is in Vancouver. It's 40 kilometers away from me. Positively speaking is right there, number 2. I think that's really cool. Right? So we're showing up against some 2 other businesses. One's 40 kilometers away, the other one's 40 kilometers away, right? And these 2 things, these 2 will charge people probably a lot of money once they start looking into it. Whereas ours is next to free, right? And it says right there, it's a nonprofit organization. So as soon as we start to look into something that's local, then that starts to make sense. So again, I'm going to go back. I'm just going to put the term Toastmasters in there because I want to dive into the map results, because that's what the topic of this section today is about. So obviously the brand is right there at the very top when we search for Toastmasters. But even without saying clubs near me or Toastmasters near me, we do get the map results right there. I'm going to click on the map so we get all the results on the left-hand side. And for many of us, hopefully we're familiar with most of these clubs, right? Positively speaking and Blue Heron are close because this one's in Pitt Meadows, right? So it's close to where I live. And then Port Coquitlam. So it's a kind of a fair sort of assessment with distance. Like this one, Down to Business is also Coquitlam, but Surrey is showing up above it. So some of these things may not even be claimed, right? It's our friend when he put it up. All of these things, it's a benefit that we're still reaping from the work that that he did when he did the work and put all this stuff up. But if you go in here, all right, so positively speaking, you see that there is one picture in here. Yeah, I recognize some of the people, and that's it. There's no reviews, there's nothing. If this club was in downtown Vancouver, it would probably not rank. But in Maple Ridge, I don't think there is another club in Maple Ridge. I think this is it. I think positively speaking is the one. So they show up, right? All right, so what happens is if you are a new club, you're gonna have to do this from scratch. You're gonna have to go in and do this from scratch. If you're an existing club, you get something that says manage this listing instead of own this business, right? So own this business, if you click on it, it's gonna take you through claiming the business. If you say manage this business, you log in and you're taking into the back end, which I'm going to show you in a second, of managing the business, the various properties. You can see that this club has a lot of pictures. So somebody's managing this or has managed it in the past. There's Stefano. So, you know, you guys go through and these guys have, these are probably, some of them are newer. I mean, when you see things like this, you know this somebody's managing this and is intentionally putting these things up, right? So active VPPR or either at this term or previous terms. And here's another trick. I'm going to share this with you now, and then so you can take this into account later. You see how it says by owner? Other people have the ability to upload pictures, right? So other club members can contribute to your club's Google listing. So only these two are put up by the club, by the owner, by whoever is managing the club. The rest of it is uploaded by the members, which is really cool. Right now, how difficult is that? Forget about right now. You know, we're in this situation that we're in, but when even now, I mean, we can think about creative ways of, you know, taking screenshots and things like that and putting it in. But when we are not in this situation, it's not difficult for when a club member is sitting there watching a speech, they can snap a picture with their phone and right there basically check into Blue Heron. That's what it's called, right? You're checking into that Google property. Just like when you're sitting at a restaurant, you take a picture of your food and you have the ability to put it up on Google Maps. All right. So if you happen to be able to log in because you have ownership of it, then you're taken into a space that looks like this. This is ITD's backend. I'm sharing this. There isn't a lot of private stuff in here. I don't think anybody who would want to compete with us would be watching this this session. So there is nothing like that. I don't think Ray would have to worry about a lot of cleanup here. But this is generally the home that you're taken to. This is the backend. This is the dashboard. To get this to this directly, you go to business.google.com and you're taken directly to this place. So if you wanted to start one for your club, and I'm gonna, if we have time and if my voice cooperates, we'll go and try and do a Google listing for a new club that I need to still do this for. But you go directly to business.google.com. Make sure you're logged in with the Google account that you want to use for that purpose. And then if you're managing it, you end up here. You end up here, and there is a lot of different widgets that is right on the home page of the dashboard. I don't necessarily want to go through these, but it's an interesting, a lot of interesting information that you get through this page by itself. I want to go to info first because that's where the initial steps that you can take to make this successful reside, on the info page. So if you look right here at the top, these are the categories that you have to list for the business. So for Toastmasters, if you want to put public speaking, if you want to put leadership institute, if you, whatever you want, whatever you think that people would be searching for. And you can test that by doing a variety of searches. If you go back and watch the SEO one that I did, we talked about supply and demand in terms of keywords that people search for and what's available online. So it's the same exact thing. You're allowed to pick categories here. So you pick categories, you put the right name of the business in here, street address, and then the service area is very important. because that's how Google knows that you actually serve this area. If you're outside of that service area, it might not show you at all, right? If you're dealing with your club and it's not a business, you put your club operating hours in here with like date and hours, phone number. You fill out the specific tags, but you don't have any product, services, and such. Okay, so this makes sure with the info page, you put as much information as you possibly can. Complete it. Make sure it's completed. You don't want anything missing in here. Okay, and then the photos tab is also important. You want to share as many photos as it allows you to share. So it's got exterior photos that you can put in, and then interior photos. And then once in a while, go in there and switch up the photos because again, fresh content. We want to deal with fresh content. Posts. Once you have this going on a regular basis, you have the ability to share posts, just like you can do with any other social media, right? And like Facebook, Twitter, you have the ability to share posts. And for Toastmasters, obviously you can share posts, like you can share various posts. You click right here and you share a new post. As an example, this one, it's telling you like it's got almost 2,000 views and 13 clicks, right? So people viewed this post. Oh, look at that. Who's that? So you continue, like we were active for a while and then we've stopped. You can see that, right? And then your reviews are right here. So anytime you want to respond to a review, you would go here, you see the review, and then you reply to it. There's different tabs for replied and haven't replied. It is good to reply to all of your reviews. If someone gives you a 5-star review, go there and respond to the review and just say thank you if you have to, but respond, be active, right? Again, these things are important when it comes to the rankings. Insights is cool. It shows you what's happening with your Google property. So this one shows in the past month what people searched for in order to pull up the Google property. So in this case, they've searched for ITD Canada, ITD, Institute of Technology Development of Canada, all the normal stuff. So you can see this says listing on search versus listing on maps, parallel to each other, right? And then this one is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. It says customer action. What action did they take after they looked at your property, visited website, requested directions, or called you or messaged you? Message means through the Google Maps thing, they send a message, and it would appear you can go in here and respond. And there's also an app on your phone that you can use. It will give you a notification so you can communicate with those people. Now let's try something. You see, this is 1 month ago, so this is obviously in pandemic when we're closed and most people have gone to our website, right? Let me see if I can go back. Yeah, I can only go back 1 quarter, which is not going to really, the data is going to be the same sort of thing, higher, but same sort of thing. But if it would allow me to go back 7-8 months ago, the request directions would probably be the highest one than visiting the website.
Jamak, there are a few
Yes.
questions in chat again.
Sure, let's see. Yes, so searches do change on individual devices, not necessarily based on cache, most likely based on location, more importantly, but the cookies do make a difference. So yeah, if you clean your cache, you might get a different results. If you're on an Android phone, meaning if you're always logged into Google, Google has a lot more information about you than does Apple, for example, if you're on an iPhone. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're on an iPhone, that doesn't mean you have privacy. Now, Apple has your information versus Google. The information is shared anyway. But my point is, when you're on an Android, Google knows a lot more about your behavior, right? It knows where you're going, it knows your habits. So your results might be skewed in various ways. But location is the most important one. So when you're on your mobile device and you're moving around, if you happen to be in downtown Vancouver and you search for lunch, it's going to tell you the restaurants around you. It might serve, if you are more into burgers than pizza places, it might show you more of the burger places around, because it knows what locations you go into and you stay. That's the reason, again, if you guys are on Android devices, I don't know if Apple does the same thing or not, but if you're on Android devices, you might be sitting at home at the end of the night and it'll give you a little notification, says, know this place, ? And it happens to be the Tim Horton that you went to this morning, right? Or if you took pictures and you were in the proximity of a business, it will ask you if you would like to upload that picture to Google Maps, for example. So definitely it does make a difference. I am not sure if cookies make a difference or not. So clearing your cache, I'm not sure if it will result in different results or not. Yeah, so virtual-based organizations in Google Maps. That's a good question. I don't have the answer to it. Google Maps traditionally is designed for brick and mortar. It's not designed for a virtual organization. However, with COVID, all the businesses that I've ever managed, I got a notification saying, are you guys open on site? Are you available online? So they are taking that into consideration right now, but I'm not sure how their algorithm may have changed to support people who are virtual but used to be brick and mortar, right? So I don't have an answer for that. When you come across a business that says, is this your business? You need to be logged into that particular account that you want to be using. And then you click on this link that says own this business ? And then it walks you through it. What I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to switch my screen in a little bit and I'm going to go through one setup. It might stop me, we'll see. Because traditionally what used to happen was, originally it was only available. Okay, let me take a step back. You have to do a verification step. Google wants to know that you are actually the business owner. So towards like long time ago, the only way that we had available to us to do that was to request a code. And what it would do is it would mail you a postcard that said Google on it. And when you opened it, there was a code in there that then you would log into this property, you'd put the code in and then say, you're verified. And then the property is yours, right? Then what they did was they allowed you to go in and do this through the phone. But the phone had to be a landline phone registered to that business. So if I was doing this remotely, I would have to call on the person's cell phone, call the business, say, hey, sit by the phone's gonna ring, read me the code as they give it to you. And then I would put it in. Because the thing in the mail, first of all, takes weeks to get, sometimes months. And then the other thing is, if you're not there physically yourself, the business owners, most of the time it goes into the garbage with junk mail. I've had that happen to me a number of times. So it was really hard to manage. With the phone number thing, it's a lot easier. And now I'm curious as to, that's why I said I'm going to go ahead and try to register a Toastmasters club, and we'll see if it works or not. I don't think it's going to work, but we're going to try, because this Toastmasters club is a new club. And we haven't been to a physical location. There's no place that we can send the postcard to. There is no telephone number associated with that. So we'll see how it works, right? Because that's why I don't know. I kept this to do it live with you guys so we can see how it works, because who knows? I don't know how long this thing is going to take, this thing meaning the pandemic. And based on that, many of us may have to do this, and we'll have to figure out how to go about and doing it. Okay, so the question is events in postings. Yeah, the lunch. Yeah, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, so there might be events in postings. That's very true. Let's go back to posts and look. So if you click on post, yeah, so COVID-19 is one of them. Obviously, offers. We can make offers. What's new? Yeah, that looks like an event right there. If it comes out, there we go. Yeah, so you could put an open house up, for example. It's a fantastic thing to do. What else do we have? I don't know, something. Here we go, products. Yeah, so definitely, yes, we can do events in here. It's great, I think, for setting up open houses. Put some pictures up. I believe somewhere in there you can also put in YouTube links to some videos, which again is fantastic. And then down here you have the create ad widget, right? So if I clicked on that, this probably won't work here because we don't have a Google AdWords account attached to this thing. But you can see it's launching Google AdWords, and I don't want to go there, but it's basically going to pull that up and allow you to build an ad towards that. The ads from the last time I did this, previous experience, are much cheaper to do in here than to do it with the traditional Google Ads. I think I got all the questions, right? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my sharing and open the other window here. 1 second.
One more question about cost.
Sure. I don't know the cost, no. I haven't done it for a long time, and I've explained, but besides that, I've explained this before as well. This is a bidding system, right? So costs are directly proportional to who else is advertising for the same sort of keywords that you're going to be or you are advertising for. So if you go into the insurance space, real estate space, where there is a lot, real estate meaning real estate brokers, real estate realtors, there's a lot of competition and people are bidding for the same keywords. So because there are so many people bidding, the price goes up. It gets higher and higher, right? But if you know your keywords, go back and listen to the SEO or watch the SEO one that we did. If you know your keywords and you know what you're doing with in terms of competition, you can choose long tail keywords, and I explained what that was last time. With the long tail keywords, your opportunity of hitting the client that is ready to purchase is higher, and also the keyword is cheaper, right? So let's say, for example, we discovered that in our demographic, the long tail keyword of learn how to present better to your boss was hot, worked well. That one's cheaper to advertise for than just presentation skills, for example, right? Just it could be a silly example, right? All right. So let me share my screen here. How are we doing for time? What time is it? 3 o'clock? Okay, cool. We'll just try this, see if it works or not, just for fun. All right, so I am, as you see, in an incognito window. All right, so I'm no longer logged into whatever I was logged into. I am now logged into this account, Inspirational Speakers TM. That's the new Toastmasters, Advanced Toastmasters Club, which I'm proudly a member of, that I'm the VP PR for. So this is one of the things I got to do. This does not exist anywhere. So I have to go create it, right? So what I did was I went to business.google.com and it said to me, does your business exist? So I did a quick search, it doesn't exist, and we're here, right here. This is actually the page. It says find your business or add your business to Google. So because I know this thing doesn't exist there, I don't want to go through and search it, but you can search it if you wanted to. So you click on add your business. It's going to ask me for the business name. Okay, so Inspirational Speakers Toastmasters. So I go, okay. And then next, it's gonna ask me what type of business it is. Yeah, so we will put, I think we said everybody else was saying nonprofit. So we'll do the same thing because that's what the type of organization that we are. You want to add a location. So here we go. So this right here, I think wasn't there before. But this could be it. This could be the new addition they've done because of COVID, right? Do you want to add a location customers can visit, like a store, office, blah, blah, blah? This location will show up on Google Maps and search when customers are looking for your business. So I'm going to say no, right? Because obviously we don't have a location yet. Where do you serve your customers? So we'll say Vancouver, BC. All right, so I can add, you see this? Burnaby, BC, New West, Burnaby, New West, Coquitlam, BC, Port, BC. What's next? Pitt Meadows? How do you spell Pitt Meadows? There we go, Pitt Meadows. And then you have.
I thought I
Maple
saw
Ridge.
something like British Columbia generally.
Is there? Let's see. British Columbia, sure, we'll do that. All right, you can always edit these things, right? So we don't want to sit here and go through all of this, but with BC being in there, that's safe, I think. Especially with us, it's an advanced club, so we want people from all over BC to be participating, right? So we'll go next. All right, so here is where things get interesting. I'm wondering how they're going to verify this, right? So, all right, so it's asking me, give me a URL. And I have registered a URL. I just don't remember exactly what it is. Let me see if I can. Inspirational speakers. I think it's inspirational speakers. tm.ca. Is that what I did? No, give me 1 second. Let me look that up. That is what it is, but maybe I misspelled it.
Maybe,
If I misspelled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this website is obviously under construction, but we have a URL that we can use. So we'll stick this in here. And phone number, I don't right now know whose phone number is listed, but the thing is I should be coordinating with whoever's number is listed because they will probably get a call. If we have to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list my number and then go back and change it. So let's see what happens if I just click on next here without a number. Want updates? Sure, let's say yes. Okay, it's done, right? So say finish. Okay, so it's asking me for here's the verification step. You see this? It's asking me for an address in order to verify this club, this entry, right? So now I could put my home address in here, right? It says the address you provide here will be hidden from the public. And I can't send it to PO boxes. It has to be it has to be my home, right? So this is, they do this, and I understand and I respect that to some extent, because if this wasn't the case, a company in Russia could create a local thing here with a post office, because you can have a post office box and they'll scan your stuff and email it to you, right? So they could technically do this. So we obviously this is good, but I'm gonna have to, I don't want to put my address in here and create more work for Ray right now. I'll deal with this later. I'm just gonna say verify later. And maybe if I had provided a telephone number, maybe it would have said you have the option for a phone call. I'm not sure. So that might be something you guys want to try. We are on Tuesdays, and I believe we're at 7 p.m. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. I'm so lucky some Tuesdays. I go 5 to 7 ITD Toastmasters, and then 7 to 9 this one. So I get 4 hours of Toastmasters straight. Very different crowd, I must tell you that. All right, so here we go. We'll keep that. The challenge with this is I do not have the ability to list here that we only meet once a month on Tuesdays. So most of you that are not managing advanced clubs, you probably don't, if it's weekly, you don't have this issue. But if it's monthly, you're probably going to get some people contacting, and then you have to say, no, it's not this week, for example. So we save that. All right, so it's asking for a blurb. I don't want to take up your time here sitting down and typing that. I don't have one ready. Photos. So if you have photos, in my case, what I'm gonna do is on Tuesday we have our November session. I'm gonna take a screenshot of our Zoom meeting and I'm gonna upload it in here. I'm going to go into speaker mode probably and take a couple pictures of speakers and upload those in here as well. So I have, maybe 4 or 5 pictures in here. That way we have something to go with, right? Says your profile is almost ready. And then I can come back anytime and do this. But you see now you're seeing that we're on the same page that I showed you before with ITDs. But look at here. I'm only 40% done. I need to be 100% done here, right? But the good thing is it's set up right here. The bad thing is without this verification, it's not posted. It's not going to show up anywhere. It's not going to show up in any listings, nothing. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to go back in here and do my verification step. That's it. And I'm gonna, after we're done, I'm gonna try and add a phone number and try the verification again, see if it gives me the verification option as well. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing now. We're an hour and 20 minutes in, or an hour and something in without any breaks. So let's see what we've got for questions. Is there a place for time zone? I think it was right there. I don't know, was it right there? Did I miss it? Let's see. No, I think it just takes your local time zone from where you're at, because we gave it a location, like it knows where I am, right? It knows that at least I'm serving in Pacific time, but there wasn't any time zone that I could select. Yeah, I think Jaya answered that. I don't know if it's Jaya or Jaya, sorry, answered that question for me. All right. Questions. Do we have any questions? I know this session was a little bit different than the other ones, but hopefully you got something out of it. I am open to questions from this session. And then if you have anything general afterwards, I can take those as well, because I want Ray to be able to easily to cut those out and not include it with this particular session.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes,
oh,
of
good.
course.
It's finally working again. Perfect. Can you talk a bit more about the use of events?
Yeah. So events, setting up events in here would, in my opinion, only be useful when you have some sort of a following, when people are engaged with this location, right? I don't know if when people are searching, I've never posted an event on a Google posting, Google platform, Google Maps platform, but I suspect what happens is it's going to show people the event when people search for the location, right? Not for the event. I think what will happen is when they bring up the business, the same way, you know how, let's go back and let me share my screen so we can look at something together. All right, so let's go here, share this screen. So I think what would happen is, give me a thumbs up if you see my screen real quick. Yeah, okay. So positively speaking, if they haven't had an open house, I think what would happen is it would show it right here when I pulled it up. I don't think if I'm searching, it will bring the event up. It doesn't make sense for it to do that. I think what would happen is it would, you know how, remember that other thing we were looking at, how it had the COVID update on there? I think in the same way, it would have the event up here. So let's try something just really quickly. Yeah, let's do, oh, it's a bad time. We don't even, theaters don't work. I was gonna go look at the theater, like the Maple Ridge Theater, not the movie theater, but the theater that they have shows and stuff, but nothing would show up. Yeah, events are a little bit hard to come by these days, but I think I want to say I'm over 90% sure that it would show up here as one of the posts basically that the business has. Okay, another question.
Is there a fee of any kind?
Is there a fee for what?
For this, for
For the
Google
Google
business?
stuff? No, it's free.
Just for the AdWords, right?
For the AdWords, yeah.
Yeah,
If you start running ads, they'll charge you, but otherwise it's free.
Can you talk a bit about some of the don'ts that you may have seen from your experience, or some of the things that people do, but we shouldn't go down that path, kind of thing?
Yeah, so my biggest advice with this is complete the information. Don't be lazy about it. That's the biggest mistake I've seen people make. They don't include their information in there. They don't claim their business. One of the challenging things you might run into with Toastmasters as well, some businesses have this, is being in the same address as another business, right? So because you're sharing the address, for us, a lot of times we're in somebody else's location, right? We happen to be in a dance studio, for example. And before, Google would kind of like ask questions of, well, what is this? We already have this listing. But now I think they're more friendly towards that. They're accepting as long as you, because what is going to happen is that postcard is going to end up going to that business. So we got to make sure that business owner gives the Toastmasters club members, club officers, the card so they can put the thing in. But to answer your question, number one mistake, in my opinion, is people leave these things unclaimed, right? So something shows up, like this one, I suspect, and we can go take a look at it, but I suspect this business owner, like nobody's claimed Seymour Speakers Toastmasters. I suspect, I don't know, we can see if there's anything by owner. Number two is leaving it alone. Yeah, you see there's nothing that says by owner. These pictures have been uploaded by whoever was visiting the club. And I don't know if any of you guys know the people in these pictures. Maybe you can tell how old it is, how old the pictures are. But my advice is focus on having the complete information and then updating, not necessarily the information, because the information might not change, but updating, putting new pictures in there, making posts, giving fresh content to Google on a regular basis. I think that would get you to get the business to rank higher.
Can you talk a bit more about, there was a topic you were talking about checking in so that you can upload photos,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you're not the owner? I
yeah.
got a bit lost there.
Okay, no problem. So can you tell me what kind of phone you use? Are you an Android user or an iPhone user?
Android.
Okay, so on your phone, have you ever gotten a notification when you go to a place that says, "Are you here now?" Or it
Yes.
says, yeah,
Yes.
if you click on that, it is going into the Maps app of
Okay.
your phone, right? Once you're there, it gives you the ability to write a review. It gives you the ability to upload a photo. It gives you the ability to rate the place. It gives you the ability to answer questions sometimes, especially if you're a contributor to Google Maps.
Okay.
That's the term checking in comes from, sorry, it might not be the right terminology. I use it because previously, maybe you'll remember there were things like Foursquare and all these various things that allowed us to check in. Facebook, you check in with Facebook, if you still do, I don't know. I'm trying to stay away from all the social media stuff. So I might be a little bit out of date as far as what they call it. But basically what I mean by checking in is your clients or the Toastmasters of your club share their information from their own devices with Google. So again, I go back to what I said before, that Google loves data, right? We want to give them more data, but that data now is coming from other people, which is even cooler, right? It's almost like if you're a business owner, it's almost like other people, you're saying I'm cool means so much, but if other people say, hey, yeah, I think this guy is really cool, that means more, right? It's more people saying that, yes, this is a good business. This is a trustworthy place. Here's a picture of this. I get almost like, I share a lot. I share pictures. I like photography. I share pictures. I get notifications a lot of times that says, hey, you uploaded this picture. Can you tell me what food item this is? And if I identify the picture, my picture is actually one of the pictures that shows up in the guy's menu for a restaurant, right? So I'm contributing to building his menu. I'm just gonna bring up my Maps app on my phone and see if I can show you guys where you would go to see this, if I remember. Yeah, so if you go to, if you're an Android user, just open up Maps. If you're an iPhone user, open up Google Maps, the Google Maps app on your iPhone. Now, I don't know what the iPhone would look like on the Android app. If you click on your face, kind of on the top right hand corner of your device, what it will bring up is it'll bring up your profile. Then if you click on your timeline, if yours is turned on, if you click on your timeline and then at the top go to places, it's going to show you all the various places, or at least does for me because I don't have it turned off. Then it shows you where you've been. Yeah, you're a virtual back. There we go. Yeah, exactly like that. And then you can click on any of those. And then it brings up the location at the bottom. It says know this place. And then if I say okay, then it's gonna start asking me questions. But there is a thing, there should be something that says contribute, and that's what I'm looking for. If you guys see it, let me know. There's a little button somewhere that says oh yeah, if you go back to your maps on the main screen of your maps, in the bottom navigation, the second to the right says contribute. It's a little plus sign that says contribute. Do you see that? No? You do? Okay, if you click on contribute or touch contribute, then it's going to give you all the various places that it knows you went to. First of all, just something cool I want to share with you guys. Right now I'm looking at mine. If I scroll down a little bit, it gives me the stuff I've done. It says your reviews received. It tells me how many views my reviews had. Mine is over 28,000 views for my reviews. And then my pictures, which is mind blowing. My pictures have 10.5 million views. That's insane. I can't see yours, Jaya. What does it say? Just unmute yourself and talk.
Mine says 10.7 thousand
Yeah,
views.
Million, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. And then if you click on and go to your see your photos, and you can sort them by most viewed. My top viewed one is 4.7 million views, and it's a picture of a, I don't know if you can, let me see if I can show you.
No, but I think I get the concept here, because one of the things we have to do is not
top
just
one.
have the VPPR, but encourage the others
You got
to
it.
contribute.
You got it. While
Yeah.
they're logged in, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
while
if
they're logged into their account, go ahead. Sorry, who was talking?
if me if you wish to people to see what you have in your phone, you have to place it in front of you.
Okay. Here, can you see it? You guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, let me try and get it near. Yeah, that top one, that top image that has 4.7 million views, that's a restaurant in Seattle called El Camino. It's a Mexican restaurant in Seattle. And it's not that great of a picture. I'm not sure why it has that many views, but it's really cool. So that's Jaya, I think you got the point. That's it. You ask the members of the club to regularly go in and contribute with whatever they can, right? So if your club has, you know, like our club, Mariam is here, we can talk about it. Our ITD Canada, in each one of our sessions, we have something like 60 people in the club, right? If each one of those things, those guys just opened up their phone and did the contribute, the listing would blow up in one session, right? Right now, it's probably not that great of an idea because we're not on location, right? We're not, because when you're on location, you're verifying with the geo tag of your phone that I'm actually physically at this place and I'm taking a picture and I'm uploading it from my account. And if you've done this often enough, Google trusts the stuff that you put up, right? If I have whatever 10 million views on something, excuse me, if I have 10 million views on something, they probably trust the thing that I'm uploading right now, right? So to some extent. So that's key. And I think that will impact the ranking of the property for sure.
So another twist, let's say that you are, I guess, let's say a physical club, like you said, in a dance studio, but say that because you have members distributed from different parts of the area, that one week you'll hold it in location A, another week you'll hold it in location B, another week in location C.
That's a
You
good
get the idea.
question. Yeah. So the question is, what if we have multiple locations, right? What if we have multiple locations? My answer is, if your locations are permanent, multiple locations, but permanent, right? We always go to such and such place first Tuesday of the month, second Tuesday, we go to this other place. What you can do is you can have multiple locations under the same listing, right? So it's like a business having multiple branches. Think of it that way. Google doesn't want each branch to have its own thing. Basically, you want to have one thing that has multiple, one listing that has multiple locations on there, and you can just add the locations in there. Janet has a comment that it's difficult to get participation. I agree with you on that. I think anybody who's ever done any sort of I don't even want to just say VPPR role. Anytime you've dealt with people who are volunteers, trying to get volunteers motivated to do something, it's not easy, right? You always get maybe that 2-3% of people who jump in and help out, and those 2-3% of people are always the same people. No matter where they go, they put their hand up and they're like, hey, can I help? Right? You're on this call, you're probably one of those people, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be there, right? So what is my solution to that? I guess I wouldn't bring that up. I'll say my piece, and then we have other people on this call that have plenty of experience working with volunteers. Maybe they can contribute and participate as well. So my thought behind that is we have to think about why they don't participate other than just laziness, right? Like laziness always is a contributing factor, but why do they not participate is number one. Number two is how can we do something where they gain something from it other than the sort of joy of giving, right? That joy of giving that comes with being a volunteer. If we take that out, how do we motivate people to do something where there's some sort of a gain for them? So some suggestions is we could run contests, for example, and I will ask in a moment. I'll ask Janice to weigh in on this because she leads the PR element of the district, and I did the same thing last year. And when you're sitting in with the trio, when you're thinking about how do we get people to do this, how do we get people to take action, there's always this same conversation. How do we motivate them? How do we inspire them, right? How do we give them that little tug, that little push? Contests is one form of doing things. I remember last year, one of the suggestions I had was, let's give people t-shirts. T-shirts don't cost a lot of money, but people do stuff for t-shirts, right? T-shirts are cool. You have a t-shirt that says something on it, people compete for it for no reason. A t-shirt is like $15 and you can print whatever you want on it, but there's something about receiving a t-shirt as a prize that just fires you up to do stuff. The district ran a contest just not so long ago. Like actually, I think it closed yesterday for YouTube promos. Create a video promo, and one of the club officers of our club got fired up and she would not have known this because we hadn't shared the information. It got posted on LinkedIn. I think I tagged everybody in it. If Mariam can attest to that, I can't remember. I think I tagged everybody in it. And then she's like, I'll do this. I'll take care of this. And I think she did a fantastic job. She put so many hours into this thing, right? But this is, she's not a normal, she is one of those people that would put her hand up and say, I'm going to do this, right? But I think, contests, things that you can leverage to get people excited. Janice, do you want to add something to that?
Thank you, Janet, for the contest idea. And
Thanks.
It's so funny. There's the person who posted it on LinkedIn is right there.
That's right.
yeah,
Oh
it is a
God.
perennial struggle. Rewards. If you have junk in your club storage, people do things for t-shirts, coins, cups, pens. Kevin and I were on the Dog and Pony Show promoting the conference, giving people pens if they stood up and said anything. It costs 75 cents for this thing. But I'm also very keen on letting people do what they want to do. So if somebody's having fun exploring some sort of thing in a volunteer position, they're more likely to hang on for a little while doing it, given that other life events don't intervene.
That's very true. But it is a great question, and I think we're always trying to discover You know, if you, why does somebody come to a Toastmasters club, right? If we discover what that is for each member, I remember, you know, it's the value of a club coming down to the member experience, if you think about it that way, and we think about why is so and so here, and if we can figure out a way of tying sort of what we want in terms of promoters to what they want, then we all win. But I think that's the challenge. I think Janet, you already know that. You're, you know, this isn't, I'm preaching to the choir here, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got to do one more thing and say thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Sandra's a rock star, man. Everything you
Yeah.
see on Instagram comes from Sandra.
I think it's good that you said it easier for me, because one every day is okay.
Yeah.
If you give
one
the
day.
people more, probably they can't keep going, right? So
But you know, the consistency you've had over, what has it been, a year and a half right now of posting one thing a day is incredible. This is not something that people do. I bet you if I looked across your life, that's the consistency you have in everything else, right? That kind of discipline doesn't just pop up. You have it and you just start to implement it. And when I first sat down with Sandra, she didn't have Instagram installed on her phone. It's like, what is
no
this
idea.
thing? No idea. And
Mm.
since then, she's been posting one every day, without a pause, not one. It's incredible. So grateful for that. Anyways, you guys, in terms of content, I'm done. Questions, you know, if I don't think, it doesn't sound like there are any more Google Maps questions. Time-wise, I think we're running up against the clock. I don't know. We didn't take a break. We've just gone
No, we are
straight.
we are perfect. I mean, so you want to fail now, it's
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm done. I'll leave it to you guys. If there are questions, I'll take it. If not, we can wrap it up.
You have tuned into and are viewing the District 96 Toastmasters website. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel.